Designing Your Life. Tanya Memme on harnessing home and hope for personal growth. Dive into this insightful conversation with Tanya, an esteemed TV host and inspirational speaker. Discover her philosophy, Find Your Finally, a guide to inner transformation and personal growth. Learn how a loving home environment can be a powerful catalyst for creating a fulfilling life. Hear real life stories of triumph and the tools that helped many rise from adversity. Join us on this journey of self discovery and learn how to design your life one brick at a time. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show, where you're about to go on a wellness driven ride. Let me share a little bit about the guests that we have here today. Tanya Memme is an Emmy-nominated TV host, real estate agent, and keynote speaker. Known for her role in Sell This House, she also is the executive producer and host of Smart Home Nation. She has helped over 500 families sell their homes on TV and has appeared in shows like Sell This House Extreme and Move This House. Tanya is passionate about home improvement and designs, a trait she inherited from her family's business, Mountain View Homes. She also runs a podcast, Life Masters, sharing inspirational stories and tools for personal growth. I am so pleased to help welcome to the stage Miss Tanya.
Hi, thanks for having me, April.
It's an absolute pleasure. You're a delight. And so thank you so much for being here on the Wellness Driven Life Show.
Very happy to be here.
So let's start by sharing with the audience a little bit more about you so we can get to know you more.
I mean, I think you said a lot of it. I've been a TV host for about 25 years. And I've hosted over 10 TV series on A&E and FYI Bio Channel, on KCBS and CBS and ABC and all kinds of different things. And then I guess what happened was I have a daughter now, I have a family now. And there was a few years, because being in this business is kind of up and down. And then I ended up having my show that was on the air for like 12 years. It came back. It was off the air for 7 years. And then it came back. And then here I was, filming again for 2 years, traveling the country on 2 shows, actually. But then when it came back again, I was like, my gosh, I have a family now. Like, it's different now. I'm not younger. And I'm 52 now. But when I started Sell This House, I was 30 and I was on it for 10, 12 years. And then, it comes back when you're older and I'm like, wow, this is different now. I have a family, I have responsibility. I got to get home. You know what I mean? So it was a lot more challenging when, to keep up a career like that with family. So I decided to take some years off and really, really focus in on my daughter and be there for her. She needed me. So it was a big life change. It really was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and it sounds to me like even having your daughter was a big life change
Yeah.
from, you had her a little, well, you weren't young like me, and that's a good thing. I was way too young. I don't recommend it. I'm constantly encouraging my daughters to not go that route.
Yes, wait. Don't wait as long as I did, though. I waited way too long.
Like, where's the balance? Where's the middle? But, because you were so used to and familiar with being successful and career was at top of mind, right?
It was.
And then we bring this other human being into the world and we're like, wait a minute. I think I need to concentrate on this. And then life changes.
Yeah. I mean, the business has changed too. So I was rocking and rolling for about 15 years straight, just of, TV. I was turning work down. I was working so much. Right. And then, our business has changed with so much competition now. And instead of having like 25 shows or 25 different networks, now there's thousands and thousands. So, and like as a TV host, you kind of go up and down. Sometimes you're working a lot, sometimes you're not. And so I ended up having to take a few years off, which was kind of, nice to reassess and this and that. And then at the same time, I'm wishing so bad that my shows would come back, and then they do. And then you're like, wow, I don't remember this quite the way I used to remember it. And so, yeah, it's a big life change. Yeah.
It's very interesting the way, like you mentioned, there's thousands of channels, excuse
Thousands.
me,
Yeah.
out there. And we've got YouTube, which this show is aired on to, which is, one of the number one search engines globally,
Yeah.
which is amazing. But yeah, there's so much out there. And, after we come out of the pandemic and things have shifted a lot. Now, you and I were discussing a little bit before we aired that you are now doing something different, and you've shifted. You're more with the daughter, and that's amazing. And you get to do something a little different. You want to share a little bit about that with the audience?
Yeah. So after being on TV for about 25 years straight, I basically took everything that I've learned and everything I know, and I've created this online 10-week course. It's kind of online. It's half online, half not online. It's on Zoom, actually. And it really helps people gain their confidence and authenticity and their message. And there's so much that we do. I also, if it's the right, depending on what kind of students join, sometimes I have like entrepreneurs, sometimes I have actors, but I also expose my network of people that I've met through the years to my clients. And yeah, it's been quite the journey. Hmm. So we
So
have like
that's
Q&A.
pretty, that's incredible. I just have to say, because the connections are so powerful. And I
So
think
powerful.
you're very, very aware of that. And, rather than just give people the knowledge, you're giving them so much more with the connections in place.
Yeah, so I'll have guest speakers. I have branding experts. I have network executives that come on, and they can ask questions and all kinds of questions, like how do you start? How do the number of followers that you have on Instagram, does that count? Do you even look at Instagram? Just see how social media fits in and what you need and what you don't need, how they discover new talent and how that happens. I also work with real estate agents. So I'm going around and speaking to some of the different real estate companies, and then see if the real estate agents themselves want to improve their confidence and authenticity and their message in such a competitive market. How do they
Mhm.
stand out? So they might not want the executive trainings, but for them, I'll have a branding expert come on, and so I tailor it depending on who's taking the course. But yeah, it's 10 weeks. We go over so much stuff, and from the beginning to the end, it's really awesome. I love, love, love helping people and sharing everything I've learned over from being on TV for 25 years. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, you are an expert,
Yeah.
100%. And so I'm curious now. Now you've been in the realm of TV and all of those things. When or has social media always really been there? Because it's a totally different game with social media, right? And how we present ourselves in the world, and you know feeling like, oh my gosh, are we ever going to be seen in the midst of this sea of fish, right? And so it's really setting yourself apart from that. But when did social media really start coming to the forefront for you in all that you do, or was it always there?
That is a good question. And no, it was not always there. And at the height of my career, it wasn't always there. I would have quadruple the amount of exposure on social media and followers and everything that I do now, because while social media was starting, I was already on television. So when it first started, people were really trying to build their social media to get on TV, right? But I was already there. So I wasn't building my social media, because at the time when it first came in, I thought, yeah, I don't really need, I mean, I'm already, and you spend so much time with the TV career, just like focusing on that career, that at the time, I didn't know how much of an influence social media was going to have. So yeah, I was just really busy. So I didn't start the whole social media game until like years later. I wish I would
And
have started it sooner, but I didn't.
right. And now, as many will say, it's a necessary evil, right? I
It
was like,
is.
or just a necessary. Maybe I won't go that route. But it's and you're talking about real estate agents, how again, yes, setting themselves apart, making little videos, giving people tips and tricks of home buying and what
Mhm.
to look for inside a home when they're viewing it, et cetera, and which platforms they should be prominent in. If whether it's to the ones that they love the most, or should it be on all of them? There's so many things that is out there with social media. And yes, so I feel that what you're doing, and I can tell that you're extremely passionate about it. You light up when you talk about it
Thank
because
you.
it is
Yeah.
your expertise. You've have the knowledge, what it's like to go on camera, to build that confidence because you just have it now. So guiding other people with compassion into that is really essential. What do you feel because I know you've stepped on stages also. What do you feel is the big differences between going on camera and putting yourself out there that way as opposed to being on stage, for instance?
Well, they're very, very different venues, but you still have to have the confidence to get up and do it, whether it's on camera or on stage. But I would say, like on camera, I lived in front of a camera for 20 years, like 25 years, really. And it was one of those things where, with the camera, it's just the camera and your crew. Sometimes a live audience, not as much. So you have to have the energy and this. It's like I always say, and I do know this, that the camera actually decreases your energy by about 30 to 40%. So you have to almost overdo it when you're on camera. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
That's
So
cool to
you,
know.
yeah, as with on stage, you also want to have that energy. But sometimes with being on stage, like on camera, you have to match the energy on stage. So they're kind of similar, but you wouldn't know that. But it really, like if you did an experiment where you recorded yourself talking just like you would talk to a friend, and sometimes when you're just talking to a friend with a lower energy, that works too for a more intimate camera to the performer, depending on what message it is. But yeah, but the difference is, there's a live audience when you're on stage. It's a live audience with a camera. I mean, you can kind of make a mistake and, edit it. You have editing. So it's not as, I would say it's not as, there's not as much pressure unless it's
Mhm.
live, like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But with a live audience, there's not a whole lot of room for failure. But then I'm also a big person where people learn a lot from their failures, which
Yeah.
is big time. And you get up and if you acknowledge the failure on
Mhm.
on stage and you just point it out, you just say it as it is. It can be funny and it can be enjoyable, and audiences are usually very understanding. But it's like the difference between doing it in front of a live audience and doing it in front of one camera. Very different feeling. And on your phone, because when you're on your phone, that's a whole other thing too.
All
There's a
the
lot
options.
of
So
yeah.
well, there's a lot to be said about failing because you're going to. And it's interesting because yes, we're live. And I chose Tanya initially to go live because I didn't have the editing skills to be that's why I wanted to go live. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, well, if I'm going to put myself out there, that's a little nerve wracking. I think I only want to go once a week, maybe once every other week. But then I realized I wasn't going to get the traction or momentum that I wanted if I was going to do that. So I initially started right off the bat. And like I knew that I was going to have mess ups, like mispronouncing names, just things not working, technological errors, things happen. And yet, I think that when you just learn how to roll with that and you acknowledge that, it's really a beautiful thing, and I feel very deeply that the audience oftentimes appreciates that authenticity.
Well, authenticity is key. I mean, it really is. So I teach my students that you need connection, confidence, and authenticity to build trust of the audience. So we work on those three things to begin with. And so you need to connect with the audience. You need to look in the eye of the camera lens. If you're on stage, you need to look in their eyes. A lot of it is about connection. And then the authenticity is really like, who are you? And what makes you different and what makes your messaging different. And then your confidence is just having the guts to just do it and be willing to, as you said, be willing to fail, be willing to make a mistake. I mean, if anybody's failed a million times on camera, publicly, it would be me. Yeah. And you learn from it, and then you get back up and you start again. And I love that you just did it anyways. Like, I love that you did it live because you didn't have the editing skills, but editing too, you can learn. And I teach people and one of the things we do is I teach them how to edit on their phones. So it's like edit and go. So how to post, like how to make it exactly what you want. And it's easy that way too. So that's another one of the things I teach you.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. First off, I mean, holy geez, you really are offering like the full shebang, because that's all part of it. There is a lot that goes into it. And, it's fascinating too, how editing on your phone is so different from editing on, your laptop or computer or a system. And it's funny because my husband loves to edit on the phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want no part in that. I want to do it all here
on your laptop. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's preferences too, but there certainly is a lot that goes into that. So I think that's very awesome that you offer all of that. And, you're correct. You do end up learning along the way. You learn how to edit, you learn as you go. So much of it can be very intimidating. And what I would have to say about that is, just focus on improving, like learn something and do everything that you can a little bit each day, and then improve as you learn more and you start to grow. But it's not all going to happen at once, but it really is just continuing to take those steps forward. We have a lot of recordings now because we have just many people that we interview for this show, and now that we have the editing skills, which is fabulous, we get to do more. And I think that that's just it too. When the more that you learn, the more that you get to do and offer and shine and expose yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I also say that, and this is the truth. They say it takes 10,000 hours to master anything. And so, I've been a host for, gosh, over 25 years. And yeah, I mean, when I first started, I wasn't able to do what I could do now or come across the way that I do now. So it's just practice, practice, practice. You have to constantly practice it and just keep doing it and learning it. And I have this thing called the 30-day challenge, where they get a video every morning of a task. And I tell them, I say, okay, so pick up your phone. So they have to do a 3-minute video every morning. And it might be, talk to me about your favorite book, or what's your favorite podcast, or talk to me about the different hairstyles that you've had throughout your life. Or there's all these different things that I ask them to do. So they get a video every morning. And then there's a private Facebook group where we all post our videos in a very comfortable, secure, safe environment. We're all like cheering each other on. And so it's a 1-month thing. But by the end, I can't even tell you. And I've had students fly in to the studio, because I'm in a studio right now that I'm affiliated with. And they come in and they give testimonials and stuff. And then I get them in person in a studio within 30 days. So like day 1, they're nervous like crazy. Day 30, they're in studio, just chit chatting away on set. Like it's really, really great to see the difference it makes.
Yeah, it's a total transformation. And there's nothing like literally just diving in. Like I did with the show. Go live, dive in. Oh my gosh, I'm terrified, and I'll get through this. So I really like how you do that, because you really create a community. You create that safe space. Their nerves are still going to be there, like you said. But once everything's said and done, after those 30 days, again, total transformation. There's a lot of things. I had a girlfriend once a number of years ago who said, she challenged me to do, I think it was 60 or 90 days, I can't recall now, of live videos every single day. And
I mean, 60 or 90 days, that's a lot. I'm only asking 30.
I know. It was, on the days that you don't want to, on the days that you're not wanting to do your makeup, or it's so late at night and you're like, I just want to skip it. But you know what? I said I would. And, um, you just do it, even though you don't look great or you don't feel great. We were in the middle of moving too. So, like, life happens,
Life
right? But
happens.
when you challenge yourself and you force yourself to grow, that's when the miraculous happens.
Yeah, so true. And it's great. And everybody has to do it these days, it seems like in any ways, entrepreneurs and course creators and influencers. And I mean, everybody, if you don't have the courage to be the face of your brand, it's really going to hold you back. And
Mm.
so, yeah, so those are the kind of people that take the course and sign up, and it's been a lot of fun. I actually enjoy it as much as I do enjoy hosting too. Yeah,
Mm.
I enjoy
Well,
it.
I I am excited to continue this conversation after this commercial, and I want to talk a little bit more about why this is such an incredible point in history that this matters. So stay tuned. Are you ready to take control of your ride to wellness? Rev up with Driven Living. Visit www.drivenliving.com and buckle up for a journey. Get exclusive access to our Wellness Driven Life Show guest portal, where you can dive deep into the minds of our esteemed guests. Sign up for our newsletter and get insider scoops on these distinguished personalities. It's like having a backstage pass to their life-changing wisdom. But that's not all. You'll also receive a free hug. You heard me right, a free hug. An enlightening ebook from the Driven Living team. Discover the science-backed benefits of hugging yourself. It's a fill-up for your wellness tank. Because at Driven Living, we believe in fueling your journey to wellness, both physically and psychologically. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.drivenliving.com today. Welcome back. We're here with Tanya Memme. And so I'm so excited. We're having this incredible discussion about what it's like to show up on camera, your branding, really stepping outside and being shining your light outside of the crowd, right? And
Mhm.
gaining the exposure that you want. Now, Tanya, this may be a really crazy thing that just me really thinks would be incredible for the world. But I think so many people should step into being an entrepreneur. And I feel that way because I think that that's the best way to really hone in on your passions, your creativity, and all of those things. And I also feel like this is one of the times in history that there's no better time. I mean, we have AI tools, we have all of the support like we've never had before, to include social media. So let's talk a little bit more about that and why you feel that this is something that's really important, kind of no matter where you're at in life, and why it's important for your business.
I mean, I think right now, yeah, it is one of the most incredible times in history to start your own business because we do have all the tools and it is all there, and especially with AI coming out. So I've been just deep diving into AI, learning as much as I can about it because I'm thinking to myself, I'm not afraid of it at all. And a lot of it, I think, is too. It can be also very misunderstood, but it depends. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But for me, I'm learning as much as I can, and I'm using it, for my business. And so a lot of these tools weren't even out a few years ago for the average everyday person, and now there's everything. And starting your own business has so much to do with your self-esteem and your self-worth, and of course you might fail your first few times around, but you just get back up and you keep going. And with every failure, you learn and learn and learn, and you're not going to fail for the same reason. You're going to learn and you're going to get back up and start over again. And I mean, this is probably throughout the last 10 years, I've probably started 4 or 5 businesses that didn't work out. And this one, I mean, really, but I also teach, about how to find that your authentic voice and that authentic brand for you, because I had to figure it out. It took me
Mm.
forever to figure out what authentic brand resonated with me most, so that I could wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I can't wait to keep working on my business. And you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it instead of giving up. And a lot of times at those moments, like just before you're about to give up, though, that's right when you're about to go to the next level. So don't
Oh,
give up. It's so easy to just
yeah,
stop because it seems it, but just focus on one thing and keep going, and right now we have all the tools. It's an amazing time right now to be an entrepreneur.
it
Yeah.
really is. And I love that you bring that up. Well, you brought up like three things that I heard that I really, really liked. And one of them being that don't stop, because when it feels like it's the hardest, that's just about the time when you're going to
Have a
upgrade
breakthrough.
right after
Yeah.
that breakthrough. And you mentioned that here's the other two things. You mentioned that you have failed a few businesses, and so I think that that's really important to know. I think oftentimes people see success as something being easy or something being innate or something being given to, right? And so it's easy for other people, but that couldn't be further from the truth, because it is not easy and it takes a long time. It takes a lot of falling down and getting back up. And so I
Yeah.
think that those are really important that you mentioned that. And also that you mentioned honing in on like, what exactly it is that truly is something that you're going to shine and be incredible at. And that's not always easy either. It takes a lot of self-reflection, a lot of understanding what your values are, and can you meet all of those value standards within your business? Every single post that you put out, every single tagline, is that meeting your values when you know what they are?
Yes, everything has to stay in line with your values. There's been a couple of businesses that I started back in the day that, it was more financially driven and they didn't work out because it wasn't really in line with my values and it wasn't true passion. So you really have to check in with yourself. And it is a lot of reflection and it is a lot of asking yourself questions. And these are all the things that I do too within the 10 weeks as well. Um, I talk about this thing called the zone of authenticity, which is also your zone of genius. So, and I talk to real estate agents about this too, where you really take the time to look at the things that you're good at, like name everything that you're good at. Everything that you, whether it's cooking, whether you're, whether you want to do it or not, but you just happen to be good at it. And then look at all the things that you're passionate about. Like what gets you up in the morning? What are you passionate about? What do you love? What are those things where the time just goes by so fast and you have no idea where the time went because you're doing that thing that you love. And then you see where those overlap. There's a few other ingredients that I put in there as well, but then you see mainly where those overlap. And that's your zone of genius. That's your zone of authenticity. That's the things that are authentic to you. And that is what you bring into your branding. Like, for example, if you're a real estate agent and you love baking and you're great at it. So then you be known as the real estate agent that brings this fabulous cake to your clients whenever you sell a house, or whoever hires you get this fabulous cake. Or it's like when I was younger, we had these things called money cakes where we would put quarters and dimes and, quarters and dimes. Now it'd be like dollar bills and you wrap it in tinfoil and you put it in the cake. And so you'd slice the cake and you'd get money from it, right? And they were big. You wouldn't choke on it. They were like pretty big pieces. It was like, who got the most money? Like, bring your clients a money cake. It's hilarious. Like, just think of something outside the box that you're passionate about, that you're good at, to make your brand, stand out from the rest in such a competitive market. So I know exactly what you mean by that. And that's, yeah, it's important to do what you love, what you're passionate about, and be able to make money at it too.
What do you have to say about consistency with that? You're talking about like find your niche, right? And find the things that you love that brings that air of fun. I think that's important too, to really be able to have fun with something, right? But what do you have to say about being consistent with that too? The one thing like the cake, for instance. And so then people know exactly. So when we talk about like, know, and trust, right? There's also something that people can expect oftentimes. How does that play into how you coach your clients?
Well, consistency is important when building a brand. right? So if you're known to give your clients, whenever you sell their house, or even the buyers or sellers, on whichever side, but like if you're a real estate agent, but if you're known to give them that cake, you have to be consistent with it to create that reputation, that trust,
Trust.
you
Yeah.
know, because it's all about building trust. So, especially when you're in front of the camera and you're out there on social media, you can't really build a successful brand without gaining the trust of the viewers or the clients. That's the key, is trust. And consistency is all a part of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, so Tanya, you have really developed this thing. I know you said that there's a few other ingredients, but I really love how you talked about, and now I'm going to forget them, but the things that you are passionate about and the things that you're really good at. I think
Yeah.
I remember that properly. And so what was certain times in your life that you started realizing that these are key ingredients to really establishing what you should be doing in life?
So when I was on Sell This House and Move This House, and I was hosting all of the home design shows, I love home design, but I'm a TV host. I just happen to end up booking all of these home design hosts, or all of these home design TV shows. But really, I'm a host because I've hosted all kinds of different shows, from robots to dating shows to travel shows. But the home design is where I ended up kind of gaining a reputation, because they were the super successful shows, right? But it wasn't really necessarily my true. I love it, and like you said, like even when you introduced me, yes, I come from a home building family. I have nothing to do with that business. That is all my brothers and my cousins' business. But yes, I was born and bred around a construction company, and I know, um, it's in my blood, I guess. But I just serendipitously ended up falling into hosting all these home design shows. So I was trying to write like home design books and this and that, and it just didn't feel totally right. So then, after I stopped hosting Sell This House and Smart Home Nation, which Smart Home Nation actually created the show, but yeah, so after I stopped hosting those 2 shows, and I was like, "Well, what do I wanna do now? Like, how do I take everything that I've done?" And so I put a lot of thought into it. And so now I'm back into the public speaking. I've created courses. I'm helping people with confidence on camera, because these are all the things I love. I love performing. I love speaking. I love teaching. And I'm passionate about it, and I'm good at it. So I had to figure this out instead of this thing, because so many people say, well, you should do this or you should do that. You're on TV and all these home design shows. You should write a book on this. You should do a brand like that. You should start. And so then I sat there for 10 years without an additional business, and I lost a lot, because I wasn't true to myself.
Hmm.
I really wasn't true to myself.
Oh, well, that's really beautiful, Tanya. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's very authentic and vulnerable. And we do go to those places in life, where we don't feel like something is quite right with what we're doing,
Yeah,
even if it's successful, which is really fascinating. I've had people in my life say, "Oh, this should be your niche." And I'm like, no, I do not want that. I'm not drawn to that. How can I really be of service if I'm not feeling it entirely, right? If we're not
right.
excited about it.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, because my whole reputation was in the home design world. And but I'm not a designer. I mean, I'm really good at staging, and yes, I can do it, and I can teach it, and I'm great at it. But it doesn't resonate with me in my heart. Now, could I do another home design show? Sure, because I love hosting. I
Mm,
love hosting, you know? So, like, I'm about to start episodes on another show called Passion to Profit, where we're interviewing entrepreneurs that turned their passion into a profitable business. So I'm so excited about that.
I'm excited about that
You
too.
know? Yeah,
As I just said, I think that it would be so cool if more people stepped into it. Is it scary? Is it hard? Are you going to make money right
yes.
away? Probably not. But
No.
if you just if you have an agreement with yourself, I had somebody that was really, I feel very wise, but he said, April, look at this as a 7-year journey, as a
Yeah.
7-year project. And so, if you're open and willing to take to move and wait in that storm, to weather the storm,
Yeah.
then what comes out on the other side might be the most brilliant rainbow that you have ever seen.
Yeah. If you love it, you're passionate about it, and it's what resonates with you authentically, I don't see why it wouldn't become something that's successful enough. You know what I'm saying? Enough is the
Mhm.
word.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, I was giving myself 3 to 5 years, but now I'm more on the 5 to 7 track as well. I'm like, because it's a lot. I've had to learn, like, to start an online course, you have to learn Kajabi and ClickFunnels, and you have to learn all this stuff. And so it's like learning a new language. But because I
Yeah.
know I'm helping people, and I know I'm really good at doing this type of thing because it is my mastery. I'm teaching what I know. There's a lot of courses out there where people are teaching stuff where I don't know where they're getting their information from, but it's not like they're really a master at it. Do you know what I mean? This is
Yeah.
something I've done for 25 years. So all
Yeah.
of that, it's really fun where I'm taking everything I know and putting it into a whole new language. So,
Mm.
you know,
And I think that, you know, I feel like because we are in this time where we get to gather information from numerous resources, our education it looks different, right? Yes, we have the brick and mortar traditional education system,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there is now so many people stepping into, because they're experts, they've their entire life experience, boots on the ground, they have lived it, they have loved it, they have, cried over it. And so they are now developing, such as yourself, such as my husband and I, courses to be able to gift that to the world. And it's this educational piece that is really met with something different. There's soul behind it. And I think that that really is changing the trajectory and helping us evolve in a totally different light.
yeah. It's funny because I didn't at first really even like online learning at all. I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know. And then I took Alyssa Nobrega's course. So I got certified in life coaching. She has a program, it's called ICM. And it's like mastery level life coaching. And I've put all that into my course. But when I saw how much I got out of that and how amazing her course was, it kind of, the light bulb went on, and I thought, wow, I can take everything that I know and put it into a course like this. And then I got it. I understood. And now I'm obsessed with learning online. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I'm always taking something. Of
Yeah,
course you have to make sure that you're taking it from the right person, but there's so much good stuff out there. Like,
there
great.
is. Well,
Yeah.
like I recall when I was working a lot, being single mom, working 2 jobs, and so my go-to was Audibles, was learning books and just
Yeah.
soaking in so much information constantly. Now we have podcasts and we have all of these things that we get to really soak all of that knowledge in. And you're correct, Tanya, like it does matter on who it is who is presenting it. And again,
Yeah,
it goes
for
into
sure.
that
Hmm.
there's a soul to it. There's a passion behind it. I was just speaking with Robert Coxon today, and he's a brilliant musician, and he said that it's not what's behind the note of the music, but behind that. So it is the soul of the person that's creating it that really brings the power and the healing
Yes. Yeah.
modality, and it's amazing.
It's what makes each course different. It's from who you're learning it from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whether you resonate or not with that person. It's beautiful that he said that. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, I really love that he said that too. It resonated a lot. So I think that I love that you brought up the programs that people create, because it's the same thing. It
Yeah.
really is this human essence. It's like when we talk about AI, it's a beautiful tool. It's an incredible tool. And again, like you've said, I'm learning as much as I can to help me with my business and help me navigate it. And there's also, when you learn how to use it in an incredible way, it still brings in the essence of you. It's
Mhm.
all in the way that you communicate with it, right? Where it's really
Totally.
giving you or giving the product of your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I do think that is one of those things that's not going anywhere. So you have the choice to kind of use it for you and for your career, or you can kind of stay behind, but it's not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things I want to learn as much as I can. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's well said, very wise.
Yeah.
We've had Mike Pell on the show before, and he said the exact same thing. And he's kind of this father of creating the future, and with all of that technology and AI and 4D technology, with which brings the essence of time in. So if you think
Mhm.
about 3D, 4D brings that time component in. So you're taking the information from the past and the present and projecting what the future outcome looks like. So it's a pretty cool stuff. But he
Yeah.
said the same thing, that he just invites everyone to learn as much as you possibly can, and kind of jump on board with that, and just be positive about it and learn how to communicate. Well, Tanya, it has been incredible to have you on the show. We've really dived into so many things as
Thanks.
a business, and you've shared a lot of your personal journey. And
Mhm.
so, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience today?
Um, I guess when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's very interesting. Somebody told this once to me and it kind of stuck with me, but like just get out there and do your thing. We're all making it up. I mean, really, at some point, like the English language was made up. Everything that we know today was at one point made up. Okay. So if you have something I mean, it's true, right? Everything that
Yep.
we learn. So when you look at people that are in your business, you're going, yeah, but they know so much and they're so much this better. I don't know if there's room for me. There's always room for you because it's your voice. And they made it up too. Even though it sounds like they didn't make it up, they made it up. So just go for it. I mean, do your research. And, if you have experience behind you and you're a master at something, it's because of the experience that you learned. And that is your way and your angle of creating your, whether it's courses or your business. But as an entrepreneur, it's like, don't feel like there isn't room for you, no matter what you're passionate about, because there is room for you, because nobody is like you. So just go out there and bring you to the table in whatever your dream is and keep at it. Don't give up. 5 to 7 years is the plan.
Yes.
But you know
Yes.
what I mean?
It
Yeah.
is. It is. And I want to bring something along with that, Tanya, and beautifully said. Thank you so much. But when the timing too of something, it doesn't have to be right now, but while you wait, during that time, I'll give an example. Being a single mother working two jobs, is not the right time necessarily to step into being an entrepreneur when you have to provide so much for your children or what have you. But the right timing will come, and in the meantime, just listen to those podcasts and read those books and take those courses and start
Mhm.
prepping yourself for when the timing comes into light. So,
Yeah.
again, thank you so much, Tanya, for being a guest on the Wellness Driven Life Show.
Thanks
You're
for having
beautiful.
me. It's fun. Thank you. So are you.
Thank you. Well, I want to make sure everyone knows where to find you. So I've had this displayed on the screen a few times. And for those of you with listening ears, www.tanyamemme.com. I didn't say that right.
That's
Memme.com.
okay. Yeah.
And so it is in the description below for those of you who don't understand what I'm saying, because I don't even know what I'm saying. But check out the description below. All of our guest information is there.
Yeah, just go to my website. I'm actually creating a new website. So all of my course material and everything that I'm offering now, as well as the new show that I'll be doing, everything's going to be on the website, which is really cool. But again, just reach out to me there or send me a DM on social media. I'd love to hear from you, and yeah, help you gain that confidence and authenticity on camera so you can get your business going.
Which we all need.
Yes.
Thank you again, Tanya. It's been a pleasure and a joy.
You
And
too. Thanks, April.
you're welcome. Thank you. And thank you to our audience, because without you, the show wouldn't be possible. So thank you so much. And we will see you next time.